I'm in the game. I'm in the game. Hello, I'm in the video with my daddy.
What's going on, everybody? So, unique little situation today. We're trying a couple things out here. So, StreamYard on my channel, now I can stream to the guest's channel as well. So, if you're on Scale Model Snail's channel and you're watching this is called Meet the Modeler. And basically, it's me interviewing other modelers and getting to know the community. Hopefully, you enjoy it, and we're gonna meet. How we doing?
Hi.
So we're trying this out today. Hopefully, this goes according to plan. But where does the channel name come from? That's how I'm going to start this off with.
Oh, wow. I should have expected that one. So my favorite animals are actually foxes, and I really wanted to do something with model and fox, but it wasn't going together, and it just wasn't happening. But I was thinking of that movie Turbo in my mind, where the snail has like a wheel for a shell, and I was just thinking together that would be really cool. And then it rhymed, and I was like, that's perfect. So that's how I got Scale Model Snail.
Oh, that's awesome. And what part of the country are you in?
So I'm in South Carolina currently.
South Carolina. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So what's the hobby scene like there?
It's pretty lively. I'm not gonna lie. We got IPMS, and then we have SCMA, which is the South Carolina Modelers Association. I'm actually a member of that. And we throw shows, and we get to travel to shows that are little local. Not much for hobby stores. All we really got out here is Hobby Lobby. So I'm like, bring back the hobby stores. But yeah, so it's pretty lively, I'd have to say.
I mean, it's really unique how every little geographic's a little different, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy because it seems like I want to say from like South Carolina all the way down to like northern Florida, there's a pretty good modeling scene down there.
Yeah, yeah. There's some big shows in Florida that I haven't been to yet, but I'm still looking forward to. Yeah, I know that they're pretty serious about their stuff down there. So
Yeah, it's it's pretty crazy.
yeah.
So, what is it that you like to build?
I really like to build all sorts of like wacky stuff, kind of like the stuff that nobody builds, the kind of like the redhead stepchild of, models, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, I like to build like those kooky ones. And in the beginning, I didn't know that you could build those. I thought it was kind of like limited to military and automotive. But the more that I started going to shows and looking online and seeing things, I was like, wow, so you can do tons of other stuff besides just military and automotive. And I was like, wow, this opened up a whole new world for me. So I like to do fantasy, any of the Ed Roth or Stoned Hoods and Crooks, the Von Franco. I like all that weird stuff, something that you're like, you don't see every day at a show.
No, I mean, I've seen on your channel, there's what, the birdhouse, right?
Yeah, that is actually a lantern. I actually have that one right here. So I can go ahead and show real quick.
I mean, I thought this was really, really cool.
So like this is the Studio Ghibli lantern, and it lights up and it has a little switch in the back.
Right.
This is really cool because it's like USB. So I just went to like an electronics store and got the parts for it. And it can be easily charged with like actually a C charger. I got this idea actually off of like my favorite artist right now that I've been watching online. Her name is Nerdforge. So she did this kind of similar, and she put the schematic up, and I kind of went off of that, but put my own creative touch on it, I guess. So yeah.
No, and that's not the only thing. Like, I mean, there's that house thing in the back that you.
Oh yeah. Like,
I mean,
we got this one right here. Yeah, so I'm really into like Halloween or anything like Halloween or spooky themed. This one was like my first attempt at building like really anything different than a model. And it turned out really well. Yeah, I got to do weathering for the first time with this build. And that was something that, you can't really do wrong, somebody told me. It was like trying to learn, so I asked one of the guys in my modeling club, and I said, hey, like, how do you do this weathering like technique? And he was like, well, you really can do no wrong with weathering. He's like, you just kind of go for it and until it completes the look that you want. And it absolutely did. So this is one of the pieces that I'm blown away at myself at, because it was totally out of left field, and I really like it.
So what were you using to weather those?
So I was using like Tamiya paints with like a white paint, and then I would dip it in some water, and then I would paint it a little bit, and I'd take a rag and I'd wipe away. Okay. Now, the purpose of wiping away is it gives the wood that really weathered look, because you're rubbing it each time, So yeah, definitely learned a lot, and weathering is a really fun technique, and I want anybody who can try it to try it.
So with learning that, are you going to take that to a model car?
I don't know. See, like, I'm not there yet. Like, so many people are really good at like the patina effect. I don't know. I'm sure you've seen that, where it's like rusted completely and stuff. Man, I hope one day. I hope one day.
Because I know with like the underneath of a car is like the perfect spot for a lot of that stuff.
Oh yeah, that's where it really shows.
Right. Okay, so you brought up paint. You had said to Mia, what else do you use?
So I also use the Createx airbrush paints. I've been doing a lot of airbrushing lately. I'm still a novice airbrusher, but I'm doing a lot better. I find that the Createx paints that they can sell at like a Hobby Lobby or something. They're already kind of liquided down, so you don't have to dilute the paint as much. And that has been super easy for me to use for airbrushing and stuff to work with. So I favor those paints.
And why is that?
Because they are a little bit more runny, they're more liquidy. I prefer my paint to be that way because I like to do lighter coats and then go over. It's just easier too for like airbrush cleaning. When I go back to clean the airbrush, if I'm using Tamiya paint and I try to dilute it and I don't get the numbers exact, that's going to be a nightmare of me cleaning my airbrush.
Right.
That's going to be a while.
Right. No, I think everybody goes through that when you
don't
quite get it right, and then you have to tear the whole thing apart, not just,
Beautiful experience.
Right. So we're kind of getting a couple questions in. David Chin wants to know how the shed is coming along.
Oh, the shed is going great. We got the gravel in. I'm super excited for the next step. I kind of just stepped away from it because I realized that I was kind of neglecting like my hobby and building models. So I found with doing the shed and my models that multitasking on 2 giant projects is actually pretty hard. So we're going to be going back to that probably in a couple of months. When I have the rest of the funds. I already have how I want it to be laid out in mind, and I'm really excited for that too.
No, I mean, that's cool. Is it going to be like they're called she sheds, right? But
yeah,
like, that kind of thing you're trying to go for, or is it actually an addition to the house? That's the thing that I didn't understand in the video.
Oh, yeah. So it's actually just going to be for my studio space. This is, I guess you would consider it a she shed, but I consider it like a studio shed, because that's what it's going to be for. Yeah. So really looking forward to that.
I like, you got to use a word, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know. And she shed makes it seem like, only like female, but guys can have their own shed space too,
Right.
like
Right.
if you
And
want a studio.
right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
And the other one, oh, where did Brian's go? Are you going to the Simpsonville snail?
Simpsonville show, I believe that's in May. So long as it doesn't fall on the 15th, I will be at that show.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to hit all the low country shows around here I can. just to meet everybody so they know, hey, I'm Snail.
Right. So paint wise, those are some pretty cool brands. Are you, when you do some of the like figure stuff, are you going to try to branch into some of the like figure painting paints, or are you going to try to stick with what you have?
So I'm gonna definitely probably stick, if it's like a full coat, I'll probably stick with the Createx, like if I'm doing a full base. But for details, I definitely am interested in I've seen some miniature videos, like the highlighting and stuff that they do. I'm interested in learning that because that I think would make my art really pop.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how many brands of paint there are through all the hobbies.
Yeah.
That's why I asked that, because I know you do more than just model cars, and it's that fine line of, I need this color, but do I need it in this? Which brand of paint do I want to buy it in?
Yes, exactly. Because there's different paints that work best for different things, and you find that out through trial and error.
Right.
And yeah, they're definitely, now I'm kind of getting the feel of what paints I do like to use and the direction that I am going in. Whereas when I first started, I didn't know. I was slapping whatever paint, like Javi's dollar store paint on, and now I'm like, oh no, I'm doing it all wrong. I was like, if you care about your art, you got to keep learning the skills.
Brian says that show is in May 20th.
Okay, I'll see you there, Brian.
So Todd asks, what kind of cars do you like to build? So I know on our channel there's 2 trucks. Right?
Yeah.
2 truck-ish kind of things.
I do like to build the trucks, just because that gives a lot of room to like do other stuff with, like the flowers in the back of my truck bed, or it gives you a lot of versatility. But I'm looking forward to doing a van in the future. So that's going to be interesting. I want to make it really different in the way where I paint kind of like a mural on the side of it, instead of just giving it, the full body paint job and gloss and maybe a couple of stripes. I'm hoping to do like a little mural on the side of the van. And that's in the future to come. I have so many models to build, but I'm looking forward to doing that van next.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
Put your spin on it.
Definitely looking forward to that. As far as cars that I drive in real life now, I would probably take the Catalina. I currently drive a Pontiac Grand Prix, so
oh wow,
that's what I'm working with. I like my old American cars for the most part.
So I'm assuming that is like Dad's influence on you?
I would have to say so. I can't say that's all me.
Right? And
yeah.
How much of his influence is on the hobby for you?
Wow. I would say that like it is 50-50. He really reintroduced me to modeling. We did a couple models when I was a kid, worked on them together, but I kind of grew up and kind of got out of that, but I never really lost touch with my art. I've always been a very like artistic person, and so after a couple of years, I kind of stopped doing art. I kind of stopped doing everything altogether, and I was just kind of headed into a really bad, lifestyle background. And my dad kind of reintroduced me to modeling about a couple of years ago, and I'm really thankful for that, because it was a way that I could channel my art and do something positive, which I hadn't done before or hadn't done in a long time. So for me, it has a lot of value. It means a lot to me that my dad, when I was a kid, I really didn't care for any of this car stuff. I was like, Dad, stop dragging me to the show, stop doing this, like sick of it. But now I find myself being very thankful for it, and I'm thankful to him for teaching me what he knows.
Yeah, I mean you definitely can see the influence. Now, what else has, because you guys work on cars together too, right? Or did I misunderstand that in the video?
We don't work on like we don't work on like models or like physical cars. My dad does work on cars for a living. He's a platinum level body technician, so cars are like kind of like his whole thing, and that kind of oozed off onto me in a good way.
Right. No,
Yeah.
right. All right. So, tools. What are some of the things you like to use?
All right. So I know that some of these are some basic ones, but I love me my X-Acto blade, trusty. I got that one. This is a fun tool that I recently had to use. So this is a hand saw, I believe. I actually had to use this for a model recently. I'll just go ahead and tell you. So when I was building this guy, my Stone Hoods and Crooks guy, I didn't know that you couldn't get the arm fitting through the window because I didn't watch a video on it first or, read or fit any of my parts. And I didn't know that you couldn't do that. So after I had everything glossed, everything painted, everything finished, I was like, I can't get this arm in the window to save my life. Oh my gosh. Like, I was so worried. And I called my dad. I was like, Dad, what do I do? And he handed me this tool. And we performed a little bit of surgery on this guy. It's hard to be able to tell because I made a super sick skull ring to cover. But we had to go ahead and amputate his thumb right there and to get the arm out the window. So this saw has come in handy for me, personally.
Wow. Oh,
yeah.
So you had to put the figure through the window, the arm through the window?
Yeah, so the way that this build is you're supposed to connect the arm at the end, but I'm kind of like a hyper perfectionist when it comes to this kind of stuff. And I wanted the arm to be connected with the body. I didn't want there to be any seams. I wanted it to be flush. And I didn't realize that was a huge mistake until the end. So yeah, I had to cut his finger off. But I was able to, quickly recover and hide that with some quick thinking. I used some old jewelry to form the little band. And then I sculpted the skull out of some polymer clay. So I became a surgeon as well.
That's a unique recovery.
Yeah, the show must go on, right?
Right.
Where there's a will, there's a way. So yeah, that's a really good tool for me. I'm super thankful for that one lately. This is a new one. I don't know, you might have gone over it in your one of your videos, but the Instaset for gluing. I usually use my applicators because I don't want glue in certain spots. So I'll use microfiber applicators, and these come in handy for like the little spots. And then I'll just use like a dab of the super glue gel. This is the one I like to use. And then I will go ahead and just put a little spray of this stuff, and the glue dries automatically. I'm not sitting there waiting, holding it, getting my clamps, So this is a real lifesaver for modelers. So if you're out there, this is the stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Now the applicators, where did you find that?
So I think there's a website online. I'm not really sure the name of it. I would have to ask, but there's a website online, and I actually have like a ton of these. And I think that my dad got like 50 boxes of like these for a pretty reasonable price.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would look online, but they are called micro applicators.
No, that's cool. That it's kind of cool how you can just branch out onto different aspects of like different hobbies to bring stuff into this one, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's all different types of arts and crafts. Like That was a really hard thing for me actually growing up. Is I was always super talented at art. I know, eat some humble pie, but I really enjoyed art, and it was the thing that I was driven to. But I just didn't know my place in the art world. You got like your ceramic artists, you got your painters, you got, and I just didn't really solely fit the mold on one of those. But I did take some classes on three-dimensional art, and one of the things that we did in one of those classes was work with wires, and we made a wire sculpture. Now, I had so much fun doing that. And every time I think about modeling, I'm like, this is the art that I was meant to be doing. Like, this is my bag, baby. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really happy about that.
So are you using like the aluminum like wire for the structure?
Yeah, so it was like the aluminum wires, and you would build those, and I actually made like a horse or something. It was a long time ago, but I just remember it being the most fun art that I did, because I've done mosaics, I've done ceramics, I've done sculpting, like painting. But for me, it was the sheer being able to bend the wires and cut the wires, and the way that I was building it, like it was just, it worked. And I always tried to figure out like what, when I was taking some college courses, I was like, well, I took three-dimensional art, and we still never did anything like that. We never did anything like building models or anything like that. So I kind of gave up for a long time that I would find my place in the art world.
Right.
But yeah.
So do you have any sculpting tools?
I don't have any sculpting tools on me per se, but when I was working with wires, I would use X-Acto blades. I would use just like needle nose pliers, so you can twist the wire or get those little kinks and stuff like that. Those are awesome. And then you're going to want a pair of wire cutters. These aren't wire cutters, these are sprue cutters, and I learned that lesson the hard way. What else do we got here? Yeah, so like a lot of those tools, those are kind of what I would use to sculpt. It's really just like kind of an all hands-on kind of thing. You're using these little tools to bend and pry and cut. And I really enjoy that aspect of the work that I do.
Yeah, because I mean, I have a bunch of like these that have like
yeah, like the dental surgical tools. Yeah.
And then a knife, and so I've got a bunch of the aluminum wire, and I've made like the figure sculpt, like how you want it kind of. I just haven't put the clay to it yet. I have a bunch of that air dry clay.
Oh, that's time. Yeah, time efficient. You got to be quick.
Well, after 24 hours, it's pretty much solid. But like up to the outer crust gets started. But if you just put water on it, I've kind of noticed that it just starts to sculpt. You can go back to sculpting it. It's kind of a weird process, but I haven't.
I didn't think that air dry clay was like that. I guess I'm thinking of like that foam hardening air dry. Like, I don't know. I'm not trying to imagine it, but if it takes that much time.
That stuff is instant. I've used that stuff. I've done that.
Okay. That's what I thought you were talking about, and I was like, oh, good luck with that.
Right. No, like you spray it, you get it formed kind of on there, and then it's like you go, and then you got to get the chisel out, and
yes, and then it's immediately like go into panic mode and reverse.
So are you going to be doing sculpting stuff on your channel?
So I'm not planning to do any sculpting stuff yet. I plan to do a few more hawk model kits, and then I'm also going to be doing more cars and more vans. That's kind of like what I have in picture for my future. But maybe eventually I'll dip into it, if there is a model that I'm doing that definitely needs some sculpting, I will probably watch a couple of YouTube videos and get it together and sculpt it, because, you got to do what you got to do.
Right. Well, and it's just another tool that you can use, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. I mean, there's the resin casting stuff that I want to try.
Oh, so much fun. And the people go nuts for the resin. I'll tell you, the resin pour videos are through the charts. They love it, and it is really fun to work with. When I did the crystals on the lantern, I wasn't sure how I was going to get the LEDs in and do the pour at the same time, but I had that brilliant brain idea to put the LEDs on the popsicle stick and then put the popsicle stick horizontally so you could go ahead and the mold would cure around it, you know. And that was really cool to watch actually become a success, because I was like, I don't know how this is gonna work. So but yeah, the resin is fun. I definitely see more resin pours in my future for sure.
So you went to college for art, right? So are you
I did.
a lot of that stuff into the modeling hobby?
I don't actually, which is crazy. When you're in school for art, they don't really teach you kind of what art you're going to be best at or what you enjoy. It's kind of up to you to figure that out, and they kind of just give you, you know, the textbook kind of classes in art, you know, art history, color theory, you know, ceramics. You know, they don't really teach you about any of these unique different kinds of crafting and art styles. So I didn't really learn a lot from, you know, my college experience, unfortunately. I did learn a little bit about how to sculpt. So like the ring that I was doing and how to sculpt and moisturizing like the clay to the, you know, piece so you can stick things on the clay. So there was like little things like that I learned, but it wasn't anything that I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to need this for my art for sure. Because it was a lot of drawing classes, and I did a lot of that in school anyway. I was a huge doodler, so you know, yeah.
Can you explain color theory?
Uh,
and if it's
not
a long
well.
answer, I can understand why you don't want to. Because
I mean, I know the basic words you give.
It's not an easy thing to explain, is it?
It's not. It's not an easy thing to explain unless I had like a chart up here, and even then, half the people are going to get it and half aren't.
Right. It's that's why I asked, you know, and I understand, you know, it's I struggle with that. Like what colors go with what, why this color affects that color.
Yeah, like the cool and warm colors and what colors not to use. And it's funny because I'll have artists like, oh, you should try this different color palette. And they're colors that you wouldn't even think would go together, but they look great. And it's just like in your mind, you're like, how does that work?
Right. No.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Believe me, I've been trying to master color theory for a while now. So
I agree with Terry. Learning the color wheel and how to mix is great in the model of building, but there's a lot to that, right? Like,
oh yeah,
and like so, I mean, we're not all like, I mean, there's ways you can go out and just get paint that will come pre-mixed. You don't have to thin it down at all, but there's those paints that you have to thin down and have to figure out, you know, and then if you want to make a color, it's like, okay, well, I need this blue, that red, and this orange to make that color. And if you don't make it right, it don't quite look right.
Yeah, it won't come out how you imagine it. I kind of experimented with color theory when I did the blue on my truck. Go ahead and pull that. Let's see.
This is super cool. I like this truck.
So this one is kind of like my first like build that I actually got it all together, you know. And I mixed this blue myself. I had this idea of this powder blue flower truck in my head, like, I don't know, like a cartoon or like I don't know, I feel like a lot of people picture this color. Maybe it's just me. But I had it in my head, and I redid the blue several times, and it was coming out dark, and it was coming out like too dark, or then it was like too light. So I just had to find, it was just a trial and error of finding like the perfect combination. And it turns out that the perfect combination is like a dot of blue and then a whole bunch of white. So it is a very, very almost white blue.
Right. Yeah. It's.
That's why I said color theory it's a little complex, but.
Learning the colors that match for 2 tones and 3 tones is a real advantage too. And yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, definitely.
I could see that. So, 3D printing. You said your dad got into that. How do you like that experience?
I think it's awesome. I'm all for the 3D printing. It is so cool. He uses the program Colts right now, and I've looked at some models on there, and they have free models on there too that you can go ahead and print out, which is really awesome. Um, I think that anybody who is 3D printing or interested should definitely check that site out. It's Colts. But I personally love the 3D printing because almost anything that you have in your mind can be 3D printed. So whatever model you want, you could probably find a schematic for it or a template and have it printed out. And instead of paying, $30, $40, that's awesome. That's an awesome deal. Free or less, what's less than free?
No, I mean it's crazy how that site has like just the free side of it.
Yeah.
Check that out first. Like they have like if you look up like I do busts and stuff. I don't know if I might have one up on the shelf, but like and you can print them out as big as you want, right? It's and there's all kinds.
So it's something that's free and it's this big, and you're like, what? How is this free? This is a steal.
Right. I mean that's how I got the Warlord Titan. That was free on Thingiverse.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love that. I love the 3D printing world.
Are you gonna try to print some figures and try to do that, or?
Yeah, eventually. So I have a couple of things that I'm gonna need 3D printed for one of the models that I have coming up. It's kind of a secret. I don't want to share this one because I've had the idea for a long time. But I'm gonna be using the 3D printer for some small things with that. And then I plan on making like a figurine of like a kitsune, which is a kind of a Japanese fox forest spirit. And I'm really into like anime and all that kind of stuff. So that is something that I want to 3D print and paint and build. And I think that would be the perfect opportunity to dabble in, painting as well and learning more.
Yeah. Mark Dunmore, that's been on before. He does a bunch of anime, Japanese anime. I think if I remember right, he lives in the UK, so he gets a lot of that anime stuff over there.
Yeah.
And he just knocks it out the park. So I totally get that. I anime is one of those things I don't watch, but I love the poses and stuff they come up with.
Yeah, the art style and everything it's really cool. The Gundams are really popular right now. Those are like those robots that people are assembling. I mean, I've seen my dad make a couple of those, and I'm like, no, thank you. They look complicated for sure.
They look complicated, but they're super easy to build.
Really?
They're super easy to build.
Wow. I've always been too scared, like, by just looking at them. I'm like, that's probably a lot of pieces.
Some of them are a lot of pieces. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what scale he does, but the ones that come in those super thick boxes,
yeah,
those can be anywhere from 100 parts to like 300 parts, depending on how you want to build it. And then there's some that are like 10 pieces tops.
Wow.
So it
just
just
I feel like I'd be cheating at that point, like a 10-piece
kit.
Right?
And there's so much you can do with those. That's the cool thing I like about some of those. Like you can like panel liner or taking an ink wash and doing all the lines in it. So all the like back, it's
that stuff is so cool when they do the washes and stuff on that. I'm like, that is awesome. That is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's super cool. Let's see. So after you're done doing the the shed, are you going to do anything else to like improve your hobby space?
So like the interior of the shed is like that design.
How do you want to take that question?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna do the interior of the shed. I was kind of thinking of like a retro 60s kind of look. So I was hoping to go with that, and then I'm gonna do pegboards to hang like my tools and stuff like that. I need to get a new Dremel. I'm always having issues with the Dremels and the sanding, so that's gonna be in there. And yeah, I just I've been waiting for a space for myself to do my art for a really long time, and I know that I'm gonna put everything that I can into this to make it look really beautiful.
No, I mean that's cool. Why are you having an issue with the Dremels? That you just wear them out too fast, or?
No, so I only had one Dremel. I can't really say I've had an issue. I actually at one of our meetings, our Christmas meeting for the club, the Charleston chapter, we do a Secret Santa, and no guesses, but most people get models. But I actually picked out a Dremel this past Christmas. It was a small Dremel. It was just like this. It had a cord attached, and it was tiny. And I was like, "This is great. I could use this forever." Crapped out on me like a month later, and I told my family about it, and they were like, "Well, it wasn't like a super expensive Dremel or anything like that." So I guess I just was riding on it too much and had a little more hope for it.
Right. No, I mean that's cool. So how are you liking the social media aspect of the hobby?
Oh my goodness, it's really eye-opening. I'm learning a lot. I'm meeting really cool artists. That's probably my favorite part about it is honestly just meeting more artists because I am such an art nerd that I love to see other people's work and I love to meet the people who did that work. And also I think that when I see other artists, like I just appreciate what they've put into it because I know how much it takes. You know, some people will go to shows and they'll look at models and they'll just think, oh, that's a toy, you know, or out of a package, or that's nothing. But like on the craftsman side of things, and as an artist, like I really appreciate and respect that, and I love that. I love meeting new model artists. So
I know it's one of those things where I was just kind of curious how you were getting treated on the line too. I know, and this is the thing that really pisses me off, how a lot of guys treat women in this hobby. I was kind of curious if you've been getting any of that.
you know what? I have received nothing but positivity, and not in a negative kind of positive way where, you know, commenting on my physical appearance or anything. Like I haven't gotten any of that. In fact, all the guys that I have spoken to or comments that I have received have been super respectful, super motivating, and very nice. So far, no troubles with that. You know, I can't say much for the future. Who knows? But so far, pretty good. Everybody's been super nice and respectful, and I'm thankful for that. Very thankful.
That is super awesome to hear that that's not happening, because I know that's out there, and it super irritates me because I that's why I try to promote a lot of the women in this hobby, because it's just I want to see more of it, because I think all the women in the hobby bring a different aspect to color theory, way the cars look, the weathering, and it's just super awesome to see. And you know, a lot of women don't want to post because they don't want that negativity too, and that's super glad to hear that that's not happening to you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and even if it was, like, I would shut it down. You know, I'm not going to tolerate. You know, and I do see why a lot of women are kind of scared to, you know, post online, because there are people, bad people and good people. There's bad people everywhere. You know. But I wouldn't let the comments affect you, because the truth is, like, it comes down to the work that you do. And only you know how much you put into something, and you know how good you do something. So, you know, I don't, I wouldn't even read negative comments. It's not even about the comments at this point. I would tell other women that it's about you. It's about your journey. It's about your art. Like, don't let anybody say anything that's gonna knock you down, because you're still doing you. You're still creating. And if anybody's gonna be negative like that, I wouldn't let that affect me anyway, because you're so mean. You have something to say. Like, you're a crappy person. Go about your day. There's no reason to disrespect another artist online. That's just unacceptable.
Right. And I kind of got the sense that you haven't been getting that. And I wanted to kind of bring that out, that it's not always like that too.
It's not. It really isn't. And I think that a lot of it has to do with how you carry yourself as well. Like, I'm not, usually scantily clad or dressed in anything that, is going to be alluding to, people like that or comments like that. I just keep it real, and yeah.
So on your Facebook page, there is a, you have your shelves of picture of all you standing in front of all your kits, right? What's the coolest kit in that stash that you haven't built yet?
Oh, oh, yay. Okay. Okay. So there's two kits that I really want to build, but let's see. Let me just go ahead and move this down. This is the van kit I was talking about. This is a level 5, and it's like that old school V-dub kind of kit. And I'm really looking forward to building this one, because there's so much you can do with it, but I'm a little intimidated by the level on the box. I know I shouldn't be, but so we're still waiting on that one. And then the other one I got, sorry, let me just get up here for a second. Ooh. So I got this one, I believe, in a raffle. And now this is a larger scale model. It's a lot larger than what I'm used to. But yeah, the 1979 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am is I'm looking forward to that one.
No, that's a cool kit. I've seen that one on a table. That's super cool kit.
Yeah. I'm saving the best for last. I try to keep it back until I have more skills, until I'm confident enough that I know that I can pull it off how I want to pull it off.
Right. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
yeah.
Well, I know there's at least 4 or 5 kits in my stash that I'd never see the light of day if I had my choice. But, I also like showing a bunch of stuff too. So
yeah. The raffle kits,
Right. Yeah, Harry, I agree. It's gonna be a fun build. And Todd can't wait to see the build either. That van's gonna be cool.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely gonna do it a little different than the box. I try to usually stick kinda to the box, but with this one I kind of have other plans for it. So.
Oh, that's cool. What? Well, you said you didn't want to.
Yeah. Well, much. Yeah.
So, So who are some of are there any other people you watch on YouTube that kind of you want to check out or you try to emulate or?
So there is a couple artists that I really enjoy. I really enjoy Nerdforge because she does kind of enchanting fantasy stuff. And it is also really cool to see another female, scale model artist, not gonna lie. So I really like her stuff. I think she's funny. I think she's creative. I try to follow a lot of what I do, to her T, not exactly, being myself. But yeah, I really like to watch her because she's always pushing herself and doing something different. And I really like that because that motivates me. And then there's another guy, he's actually in my club. His YouTube channel is Hanging with Mr. G Seeds. And he does some of the most amazing paint work that I've ever seen on actual bodies of cars and on models. And if you guys get the chance, definitely head over there.
So you're going to need to do me a favor. You need to twist that guy's arm to come on here.
you want me to talk to Gary? I don't know.
If he's in your modeling club, yeah, twist his arm. Tell him he needs to come on here.
All right.
Okay?
I'll go ahead and let him know at our next meeting.
Right.
Say, Gary, the people want you.
Right. No, he comes on here every so often and watches. And
yeah, he's a cool guy. He's really nice.
Some of the stuff he does.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what everybody else is saying on here too now. Right.
Yeah, Gary's really cool. He's super talented. I know that he's worked with some really awesome artists. And like I know that he's like worked with Ed Roth and Von Franco in person, and you know, he used to live in California, but he's really talented, and you know, his paint work is some of the best paint jobs I've ever seen, to be honest. So yeah, really up in Gary's channel here, but
Right. So we're getting to be about 45 minutes to an hour. Okay. There anything else you want to bring up to kind of promote your channel a little bit? Facebook page, right?
Yeah, I have a Facebook page. I also have an Instagram. I have a TikTok and a Twitter, all the same name, Scale Model Snail. So super easy to find. Yeah, so those are my channels. My dad is actually just starting out his YouTube channel. He's really good at the art aspect, but he's just now dabbling into, you know, the videography and stuff of it. So if you guys want to go ahead and check out his channel too, that would be super awesome. He does a lot of car stuff. So his name is Timothy Goheen. He hasn't named his channel yet. But yeah, I would definitely go check him out if you're a car guy, you're into automotive. He's always got great tips and information. And obviously like and subscribe to me. So that would be great.
So is that your influence on him starting a YouTube channel?
Yeah, so I don't know. He's not really said it out loud, but it kind of does feel like that in a way. Like, because I used to tell him all the time before I was building models, I said, Dad, you got to make a channel. You're great. Like, people are doing this for a living. Like, they get on there, they just show a step-by-step what they're doing and educate people. And I don't know anybody better than that, than my dad. So I always tried to get him into that. And I think that he was kind of like timid to do it until he realized, you know, there's people in the club doing it and I'm doing it. And now he's starting to like dip his toes in. So,
well, definitely plug his channel.
Yeah, I will. So it's Timothy Goheen. He hasn't got a name set up for it, but he's got a couple motorcycle videos up right now and some other videos. But he's got some models up there too. He's the guy with the model car room that everybody thinks is like a treasure trove. So all the pictures you guys are seeing with all the models, that's my dad's collection, not mine. So.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I got it.
Yeah.
I
get questions.
What?
I said I get questions about it all the time, like whose model collection is that? And I'm like, I can't give the credit to me.
So basically, you know where the closest hobby store is.
Oh yeah, unfortunately, it's not that close.
Right.
Yeah. So I know where the closest hobby store is. Right now, we only have the Hobby Lobby. I actually went today before I came to the interview and got some clamps. And again, my dad helped me with that because I was gonna pick these hard clamps, these metal clamps, and he's like, "Oh, those will be too hard." So he told me to get these light ones, which were cheaper anyway. So you know, it's just little tips like that, and it's super helpful. And I think that you know, having a parent who does this is obviously, you know, very helpful for me and giving me a leg up. So yeah.
So the question right now from Brian is spell the last name.
Okay, so the last name is Goheen, Goheen, is in Nancy.
All right. That should be coming across. Should be coming across. Hopefully that helps, Brian.
If not, you can go ahead and check out my channel. My last name's on there. It's the same. So.
Okay, so like I was saying, we've hit about that 45-minute hour mark, right?
Yeah.
Did you have any questions for me?
How do do you like the internet aspect of things? You seem to be enjoying it.
So
No?
I'm one of those type of people that gets along with everybody. Like I can go in and out of most of the Facebook pages. I don't make waves. And that's kind of how, I am in real life too. I
That's a good
haven't
way to
really
be.
had issues. And if I have, it's been, well, you're just not the kind of person that you want me to be around with. It's one of those things. And
Yeah.
like my hobby, like the YouTube channel, it's one of those things where I had to like figure out me to be on camera and that whole aspect. And I've gotten better at it, especially with this. But yeah, I haven't really had a whole lot of issues online. I get along with almost everybody in the hobby, so it's been pretty nice. There's been a couple times where I've had to like, kind of bitch slap someone through the internet, but
Yeah, no.
it's not happened a lot.
Theoretically speaking, of course.
Right. Right. I mean, it is one of those things that does happen from time to time, but for the most part, I've never really had issues like that.
Nice. So you enjoy it. You enjoy you got the gift of the gab now, huh?
Right. So Brian at Got Fuels Model Car Garage, that's his YouTube channel name, has a hangout 3:00 my time. So it's probably 6:00 your time, right, Brian? But they do a live hangout kind of like this. It's on StreamYard. But he posts the link in his YouTube channel, so they're inviting you to come join.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would love to hang out. Thank you for the offer. That's very kind.
Like I said, and there's like usually from Friday to Monday, there's a hangout pretty much somewhat throughout the whole weekend.
Oh, cool.
Cliff, this is why me and you get along. I miss the days of smacking someone and not through a computer screen. Right?
The good old-fashioned way.
Yeah, see, even Cliff says Monday nights, his live stream, and that's the GI mechanic scale modeling.
Okay.
He does like a little thing, and then he has a hangout during that 3 or 4 hour session. And he's on the East Coast too, so it's like 3-4 o'clock my time. So it's probably
Cool. That's like right up my alley. Awesome. So do you guys get on screen and like build and talk and chat? Because that would be awesome.
Yeah. No, it's like when you get an opportunity to like check them out. But Brian's group's really cool. Brian's group's really cool. Cliff's group's it's a little more adult oriented conversation. Like I don't mean that in a bad way. But it's a little more, you don't have to be as careful, it's pretty safe,
It's a little more laid back.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Right. Do you have any more questions for me?
That's all I got right now.
Rick, talk crap and drink beer on streams. Yeah, that's what you do. Right?
Well, I can do one of those things because I quit drinking, but I will talk smack.
All right. So yeah, like I said, if you don't have any more questions for me, I'm gonna end this. Thank you for coming on. I'm glad we were able to. You were actually going to be on a couple weeks down the road, but I had a cancellation, so we moved you forward.
Yeah, and I was completely fine with that. So I was like, yeah, perfect timing. Anyway, I wasn't busy today, so works perfectly.
Wait, what? Josh, you're not trying to say.
Oh no, done some fighting words.
So that's not what I meant. I meant like you have like Ryan, Jason's son that comes in there. It's more, like you can go in there. It's peaceful. It's all accepting. There's no drama. Well, unless Fred and John Paul get in there, but but yeah, it's that's what I meant by that. I don't mean
Oh
that.
no, I understood what you meant. You don't have to. I understood. Yeah.
Right.
No, I think that would be awesome. Like that's really fun. I don't really know a lot of people that are like around my age group that are like doing models and stuff. So that would be really cool to just talk to people.
Right. No, it's super cool. But thank you for coming on. I really appreciate this. If you want to come on again, you're more than welcome. But I will talk to you in a couple minutes, okay?
All right, sounds good. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, everybody. So that was Scale Model Snail from YouTube. She has a couple other social media things that she announced here in the channel. If you get a minute, go over to her channel, hit the subscribe button. Super cool stuff going on over there, and I will see you guys next week.